So I have a great piece of gaming news to share, ladies and gentlemen. It is some great democratic news. For ladies and gentlemen, Sony, in a shocking turn of events, has listened. Sony has lifted the purchasing restrictions on 130 countries for Helldivers 2. All the country, because we talked about this last year, Sony placed a restriction on a little over 130 countries, so those countries just couldn't buy Helldivers 2 anymore, which really sucks because it vastly lowered the player count, and a lot of it dealt with a lot of it dealt with them making it to where you needed a PlayStation Network account in order to play Helldivers 2, even if you were on PC. And unfortunately, there's a lot of countries where PSN just isn't available. Like, there's a lot of countries that simply can't have PSN accounts, but they can have Steam accounts. And so that's how a lot of these countries were able to play Helldivers 2 in the first place when that game initially dropped. But then Sony dropped that whole fucking bombshell of a thing, and we got a small victory not long after by them making it to where you no longer needed a PSN account. However, the restriction, the purchase restriction was still a thing. Like, even though those countries were free from being able to play the game without having a PSN account, they still couldn't get the game in their country. Like, it still wasn't available. And we were kind of wondering, well, when the hell is this gonna be lifted? Because, there are certain major orders now that we just can't complete because of that. And now, finally, again, it's been over a year now, but that restriction has now been lifted. A lot of those countries that couldn't buy Helldivers 2 at the time can now buy it. They dropped it for Stellar Blade on Steam. Hell yeah! I have yet to play Stellar Blade. I hear really great things about it. But on top of that too, thank you for reminding me, Snippy. Firstly, new chatter. Hello there. Hope your night's going well. They also dropped the purchase restriction for God of War Ragnarok, because that was another game that was being affected. Basically, any Sony game that was released on PC within the last couple of years or so was given this purchase restriction. So they've now since lifted all that because, hey, big shocker, when you don't limit how many people can buy your product, you maximize your profits. Who'da thunk it? But yeah, no, it's a great win. Granted, there are still some countries that are exempt from buying Helldivers 2, and it's kind of like usual suspects that I'm not surprised by. So, like, North Korea, obviously, you can't fucking get anything there. Russia, so... Well, they're listed as Russian Federation, but I think that is just Russia. I don't know if that's a different thing, because I've literally never heard it called the Russian Federation. But regardless, Russia can't get Helldivers 2. Belarus, Vietnam, Cuba. Let me see if I can find the rest of the countries here. Where did I post it? And I'm gonna assume this is also across the board for all the other Sony games that are on Steam. So, yeah, Belarus, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russian Federation, Syria, and Vietnam are the 7 countries that still cannot buy Helldivers 2. Yeah. So, I don't know what the deal is with again, a couple of them I completely I understand. Some of them I'm a little bit confused by, but I don't know. I feel like that's getting into more in the political area, and I'm not too comfortable talking about that. But anyway, yeah, that's the big news I got right now. what is there anything I really have I want to talk about? No, not that I know of. Not a whole lot of like entertainment news. Oh, that's right. Borderlands 4 pre-orders are out right now. You know, I can pull up that chart right quick. Yeah, so Borderlands 2, not 2, 4. Jesus. So game release is still set for September 12th. Base game is going to be $70. If I'm looking at this correctly, so base game $70, deluxe is 100, and super deluxe is 130. I'm tired of deluxe editions and all that shit. And also, you know, it's another $70 game. I refuse to pay for I refuse to pay for you know, $70 for a game. I've only ever done it a couple of times. Thank God they brought back DLC Vault Hunters. I mean, so my experience with Borderlands goes as follows. I've only ever played all of 1, and I played a good chunk of 2. I never finished 2, and I've never played Borderlands 3, 4, pre-sequel, or Tales from the Borderlands, or what the fuck was the D&D game? I can't remember what it was called. But that's the only other one I have not played also. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. That's what it was. I guess it would be appropriate to add in an obligatory real fans joke, because that was something that Randy Pitchford said a few weeks ago, like the idiot he is, saying that if you don't buy Borderlands 4, you're not real fans. Yeah, but he apparently also said that Borderlands 3 is better than 2, which, look, even though I've not played 3, just from the fact that literally everyone and their mother said no, that's not true at all. I'm kind of going with the crowd here and saying Borderlands 2 is the better game. But yeah. I tell you what though, I'm happy that there's a lot of really great games coming out that are only $50. Dune Awakening, that just dropped, that's $50. Base game, I thought about getting it and trying it out. And you know, Expedition 33, that is also $50. I actually just started playing that game like earlier this week, and I'm having an absolute blast. I am playing it on Game Pass, because that's the other plus side, is that game's also on Game Pass. Yeah. So go play Expedition 33. What the hell? All right, Night Ride. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, Borderlands 2 has a better story than Borderlands 3, but 3 has a better in-game content and gameplay. All right. The only complaint I see with 3 a majority of the time is the fact that it doesn't have a good villain. Which even then could also be said the same for Borderlands 1, because Borderlands 1, even though, you know, that's the first game of the series, so it's gonna have first game problems. But that first game didn't even have a villain. It had a final boss, a very shit final boss, but, you know, it was great. But yeah, that is where I will end things for the news. I just got like one news story to touch upon before we jump into things here tonight. We're talking about, again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Marathon. They've been in the news for the past month or so. Marathon, just trying to give a brief summary. It was Bungie's flagship title way back when, like way back before they did Halo and all that. It was the series that put them on the map. They sort of left the series dormant for you know, many years, until recently, where they announced that they were making a new Marathon game, not a remake, just an entirely new game, an extraction shooter, based in the Marathon universe, which already had a lot of people skeptical, all the way up until it released its playtest, which I heard was okay. I never got a chance to play it, but I heard Marathon was all right. But then, about a month or so ago, it was revealed by an ex-artist at of Bungie that turns out Marathon was using textures that were done by them. Like after they left Bungie, the artwork, like the texture art that they did, was just sort of left, and so the art director for Marathon decided to just fucking use that shit without paying the artist, which, you know, gave Bungie a lot of shit, because this wasn't the first time Bungie was caught stealing artwork from a former developer to use in their game. And, you know, we had there was an incident with a fan artist having their artwork stolen for a Nerf gun that they were doing for Destiny 2, and you know, the game got delayed, which is like the main big update to this, is that not only has Marathon been delayed, but it's been delayed indefinitely. So there is no release date now, because I think it was set to release like sometime this year. That is no longer happening, because obviously now they have to redo basically all the textures of the entire game to try and get rid of the you know, the plagiarism and all that. Now, reportedly, there was like a conference call with some of the execs, and it's rumored that the new release date is set for March of next year. That's what's being said. You know, that remains to be seen. Obviously, they can't really promote the game anymore, because that was another news story that propped up like a few weeks ago, is that Bungie stopped any and all, you know, gameplay advertisements and all that for Marathon, because obviously can't really promote a game that has stolen assets in it. So yeah, along with like the various reports that morale at Bungie is at an all-time low. People are just not giving Bungie the time of day, basically. Because you have the fact that people were already skeptical of Marathon to begin with, and reception for Marathon wasn't great out in the get-go. And so people are wondering now, like, well, what's next? Are they just going to give it a pseudo revival, and, you know, obviously bring it back to try and garner some goodwill, I suppose? Or are they just gonna cut their losses and cancel the game altogether? Which I don't think they'll do. I don't think they'll just straight up cancel a Marathon, because given the fact that they've already done a playtest, they've already kind of gotten this far. Now obviously I say that knowing, again, they just delayed it, so now they have to rework basically a bunch of how the game looks. So yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll see an announcement or something, whether it's at Gamescom or Game Awards. You have to wait and see. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all, especially when you got, you know, there's another game that's on the horizon, another extraction shooter that many people are actually excited about, from what I hear, is Arc Raiders. Which I took a look at some of the footage for Arc Raiders. It does look pretty fun. Again, I'm very skeptical when it comes to extraction shooters. I've said my piece like more times than I could count on what I think of extraction shooters. So yeah, that's basically it.